saw a question come across. I don't want to call it tampering, but are you constantly recruiting your players year in and year out? You know, if Gardner Webb Friday starter, the portal begins long before June 3rd. Like, that's really the point I think parents don't understand. Can you kind of get parents to understand, like, this whole thing begins way before June 3rd?
Yeah, and do we re-recruit? Yeah, but I mean, I'm also too, like, well, I'm not sitting here begging anybody to be here either. I'm just not, and we're not a junior college either. Like, our freshmen, I mean, I'm very stern and upfront with them beginning. Like, you're here to play 4 years. I mean, this is why you're here. You committed here. We're not trying to move you on to somewhere else or do whatever. And we've had guys leave here, and some hasn't worked out so well, and a couple it has, and you know, there's probably more of the less than there is the more, and it's you know, it's disappointing. But you know, I mentioned number one, what I was saying happens. Number two is young men when they go into the portal, like, they're supposed to be looking for situations that are going to allow them to get on the field more. I mean, that's usually the driving factor, like most of the times, right? And you'll see a lot of guys that go 1 year and then they kind of just go to the same situation. I see it happen all the time. We have it happen all the time where we're looking at guys that are like, maybe they're a Power 5 guy or they're a high major guy or whatever, and they transfer to the same level, you know, and we're like, and it's like, you know, and they get into the same situations that they were in previously that allowed them that made them get into the portal, you know? And then the third thing is, you know, it works out. You do go to another place and it works out. But I'm telling you, 1 and 2 happen way more than 3. There's no doubt in my mind. There's way more guys that end up not playing, or they go one more place and they're doing the same thing again.
Right.
And it's not a good marriage, and it's just kind of like, you know, and everything gets flooded, and the next cycle happens, and sometimes they end up being at situation number 1.
Right.
After doing number 2 first, you know, so.
And I want parents to understand we're here to answer questions. That's why we're doing this live. So when somebody just asked me if we could ask questions, the answer to that is yes. I have another parent. So I want to make sure there is nobody trying to scare anybody. I'm just trying to bring a sense of reality. And the number one thing to understand is this: college athletics are hard. There is no such thing as an easy ramp or runway to success. They are challenging mentally, physically. You are multitasking. You essentially have 3 full-time jobs: your athletics, your academics, and sleep. And those orders can get mixed around. So what I always want to try to get parents to understand is nobody's to blame. And there's no root or cause. Like, there is no evil, darkness, you know, a void. The thing is I see parents, they'll ask me, is this recruiting service and that recruiting services now, they don't really carry the same weight because coaches now, first, what I would like you to explain on this topic. Do you use Synergy?
Oh my goodness, yes.
Okay, so I want parents to understand there are no what I call players that just appear. College coaches, you give them a name and they'll say, hey, I watched so-and-so's video on Synergy the other day. Can you explain what Synergy is and how you as a coaching staff use it?
Yeah, I mean, Synergy is a universal video system that people use in a lot of different ways. And some people, when on their, like at their place, use Synergy in a much better way than other places, meaning like there's more camera angles, there's more, the video's clear, it's more descriptive, the velocities are right, like all kinds of different things as far as it goes. And some people intentionally don't do some of that right, so you can't see exactly what's going on.
Right.
But that's a time for another Zoom or another conversation.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, Synergy, I mean, TrueMedia is a huge one. I mean, we use TrueMedia a lot. So you can able to, like, you just can see what you're getting into. You know what I mean? And like, you know, listen, the days of, 20 years ago, used to get 2 or 3 names and I'd go watch them play. You figure out if they were any good, you know what I mean? Like that's how you did it.
But now you just press a button and there he is.
No, and the guys that worked the hardest 20 years ago, I mean, like there were I was riding around, sleeping in my car. I can tell you some craziness. You know what I mean?
I did it.
Yeah, 100%. Like that don't go on anymore. You know what I
No.
mean? Like there's none of that. I mean, I still like some of that. I mean, I still have the juice to do some of those things, but it's not a thing anymore. I mean, you have access to all these video tools and different things. But yeah, Synergy's huge. And I mean, but I mean, because of the access to what you can do. I mean, in the way you can sort things. Do you know what I mean? You can, if you're looking for somebody that you want to see if can they handle the back? Can they bunt? I mean, you can go right in and filter every bunt attempt that they had. I mean, this is within seconds.
Right.
It's within seconds,
And I don't think parents really understand the access that college baseball, professional baseball has. They can go find. So you bring up a name, Tyler Beede. They can pop a button. Every breaking ball, every changeup, every bases loaded, every 2 out
everything
and on second, everything. And so, parents, you need to understand that access to backup. So you can't just say my son is, or here's some video of my son. They're going to go find that video. So a couple of questions. One, Jim, let's go through this. So kind of get everybody's question in. Do you foresee a time within the Division I landscape where JV baseball programs will begin to enter the scene at the Division I or Division II levels?
I mean, they're all over the Division II level. I mean, they're everywhere. I can't really elaborate on Division I. I can't get in depth there.
I do believe, my opinion, there will be within this new, what I'm going to kind of quantify as the professional division. I don't know what we're going to call the P5, P4, whatever that becomes. I do believe that division of athletics will have a scout team, a JV team, whatever we want to call it. But I believe that's coming. I believe we'll have scouting staffs. I believe we'll have athletic general managers that will be working for the athletic directors. So those changes are coming.
I can see that. My thing to that too is, like, I was just having a conversation the other day with it, and it's going to be all great, but like, I mean, at some time there, like, there's going to be players that don't play again. You know what I mean? They're not going to be on rosters, and I mean, if you're on the scout team of like LSU, you know what I mean? Like, don't you still want to play? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, at some point you got to love. I mean, love to play baseball. I mean, that's what this is supposed to be at the end of the day, is that you love to play. You'd hope at some point, like, some of that kind of resonates, and it's okay. I mean, we all have that time where we're told, like,
Right.
I'm not going to be a pro. You know what I mean? And I just want to go play ball.
Right. And I think that's what Jim just said there. I just want to go play ball. And I want to get parents and athletes to understand the icing on the proverbial cake. We have this desire to kind of rush to our destination, and we want to fly through our journey at warp speed. And then when we get to the end of that thing, we go, oh man, I wish I could do that over again. Or if I only could do that now, knowing what I know now, I would do this. And so what I want to let parents understand is college athletics, as Jim alluded to. I was a 7-year head coach at Division III baseball, and we were a low-end Division III program. In fact, the school is no longer in existence, which is a topic I'm going to get to in a second. But my point is, I had 6 players that ended up playing professional baseball, and none of them ever came to me and said, hey, I can't wait to play Division III. Like, I've been dreaming my whole life. You go and recruit, and it's all about the ability and the opportunity to participate at a collegiate level. And so that needs to be understood. Like, playing college baseball, one could make an argument that any Division III team would be able to compete with a higher level. They would lack depth of whether it be bats or arms and things like that. And
I've coached them.
Right. And so, Jim, get parents to understand, and more importantly, athletes to understand, if we talk about the portal, the focus should be, let me find some place where I can go play. Let me find some place where baseball can be a part of my experience. And I'm not trying to be Pollyanna and the sun is always shining on the side of the mountain. The reality tells us, as Jim alluded to a little bit earlier in our conversation, not all athletes that enter the portal end up ever playing again. So if our expectation in high school is to find a college or university that allows our student athlete to the opportunity to participate, to get a great education, to be in a campus environment that is going to allow them to become a great adult, a member of society, a future parent, a future spouse, a future member of the business world, etc. They'll learn to compete. They'll learn conflict resolution. They'll learn how to overcome adversity or challenges that, are in our everyday life. That's really what we're trying to get across. The portal, yes, there are people that go from 3 to Division 1. There are athletes that go from Division 1 to Division 3. They should all be trying to find a dance partner. It's not like I need to validate my ability. Gardner Webb could roll into UNC and Scotty Forbes could run into a buzzsaw. Webb could just throw 2 dudes out there on Friday night and Saturday, or Tuesday and Thursday, and there's nothing that UNC can do. It doesn't matter whether Gardner Webb is in conference, out of conference. Division 1, as we're watching in the regionals, Evansville, Southeast Missouri. I mean, we're seeing teams that people don't roll off the top of their tongues.
Oh, yeah.
Conquering, Goliath. But, baseball is about an experience. It's about that time in your life. Can you because you embody that, right? A Division 3 player, a Division 2 coach, Division 1 coach. I mean, you've been all around this. Talk about that as a student athlete. It's an integral part of the development of becoming a young man.
Yeah, you know what? And we could probably talk for a long time on this too, because it's kind of honestly been a lot. It's kind of lost, to be honest. In my opinion, I think it's been lost, and I think the biggest thing's got to do with, and this is what I try to share a lot of times with parents and players and different things that I talk to. Like, I think a lot of times kids pick a school, okay, for the Instagram post. And what your stance is like locally in society, meaning like, we're so hung up on Division 1, so hung up playing Division 1.
That's 12,000 athletes at a 40-man roster at approximately 300 schools. And so I don't think parents understand the finite number that you're trying to 12,000, and that's a 40-man roster. And if we talk about the 27-man travel, approximately 9,000, half of which are pitchers. So that means there are 4,500 student athletes at Division 1 level that are on an active travel roster. That's all 50 states and Canada. Think about how small that number is. It's small. It's not realistic.
And there's decisions are made based off of levels and what to do, and like, so you can put that. I tell them all the time, I'm like, remember, when you put that post up and you go and you have that event at your school and you got the balloons, the cake, and all that, it's quick and it goes away real quick. And, I'll meet our freshmen come here in a few weeks. They do come in for summer session too. And that'll be one of the first things I tell them. I go, remember signing day? Remember the Instagram post? You remember all the likes and everyone was telling you? It's all over.
Right.
And now it gets real. Now it gets real.
It's reality. And so here's some questions for Gardner Webb. Do you allow walk-ons?
Oh, you have to. I mean, it's a lifeblood of what we do. I mean, like, we have 40 we only have, you're allowed 32 on scholarship. I don't know many places that with the 25% rule that can get 32 on scholarship. I mean, it's a difficult thing to do. And so, no, yeah, we've got a bunch of walk-ons. We've got a bunch of them. And some of them have turned into some of our best players because of the development piece. And you just, the Mother Nature and whatever, how it worked. And, but to touch real quick on what you said before about like, I tell every young man that we meet, and I've said the same thing since I've been at the Division 3 level to Division 1. Like, you decide on a school, right? Okay. You got to do 3 things. Okay. Number 1, okay, is it the right like fit socially? Meaning like, if you want a really big school and you want 50,000 students and you want, you know what I mean, a big party scene, Gardner Webb in Boiling Springs, North Carolina is probably not a good fit for you. It's not a fit. Okay. But if you're looking for a private school with an outstanding Christian culture in a small town with that type of feel, like, yeah, we're a really good fit. So you've got to really figure out where you want to go to school. Like, what type of school do you want, right? So then you got that, you've got that filter. Okay. Then you need to pick the top 2 academic programs that you want to study. Not one. You got to pick 2. Two things that really interest you, and, like, as far as it goes. Like, again, for us, if you want to be an engineer, this isn't a good place to go. We don't have it. So it's not a good place to go to school. It's not going to be a good marriage as far as it goes. And then the third part's got to be the baseball. Okay? Because I always feel like if we get a kid on campus, like we feel really good about converting them based off our beautiful campus, our facilities, whatever it might be. But also too, like, we have camp. I love camp. I love it. I love meeting new players. The kids are in high school. I love meeting their parents. I love it. And I love talking about this stuff because, again, I don't know how good of a coach I am, but, like, I do have a feel for the levels and the recruiting, and I have experience doing all this. So I like to help families. I like to talk to them, and I like to, and again, I tell them not every kid can play here. It's just there's a piece to some of this, and you can have a great experience at every single level. And, like, listen, I know we're watching these games. I mean, you see some of the crowds and the popularity at some of these places that are going on this weekend. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. I mean, see what's going on at Clemson and some of those places. And I get it. Like, yours truly wanted to play at Clemson or LSU, whatever it might be. But, it's hard. And like, if you go to one of their camps, and if they're not tracking you down in the parking lot after the camp, probably can't play there.
Right.
There's only one. Listen, I always say this to everybody. There was only one Rudy story. There was only one. I made one movie. So, like, it's okay. I mean, there's only one of them. So,
right.
We got too many trying to beat, I think, sometimes. You know what I mean? It's just like, it's okay to go to a really good academic D3 that's got a need for your position. And, like, I tell kids this all the time because it makes me mad because I live this. I still live it. Trust me. I still live it. But a coach calls you and, like, has interest in you. Like, it's a really big deal because they believe in you. And you do something on a baseball field that they feel can help them win a baseball game. So, like, you should listen to them.
See, I really want to focus on that sentence. When a coach is interested in a player, it is because that coach feels that student athlete can help a team win games. It could be a pitcher, as a hitter, as a defender. So, in other words, a coach is not just saying, I like this young man, I'm going to bring him on. He sees a role. He sees an opportunity for that athlete to help and benefit the other student athletes on that team so that they can win more baseball games. And that is the reality of college athletics, whether it's a junior college, and we're getting inundated with questions pertaining to this topic. So I really want to cover that.
Yeah, please. Yeah.
So here's what I want parents to understand. I have a question here in reference to IMG. And IMG, for those that may not know, they're the originator, in my opinion, of what I call the academy, the athletic academy, that the focus was more athletic centric and academics kind of still in the mix, but not really the focus. The primary focus was the development of the athlete, whether it was golf, tennis, basketball, football, and in this case, baseball. IMG has over 7 varsity teams. And so when you say I graduated from IMG Academy, does that benefit because your focus is more, athletic centric in the development? To some degree, yes, if there is also an elite skill set going into a school like that. But those schools do not wave a magic wand. Those schools and those academies, I see it in North Carolina, I see it in Virginia, I see it in Pennsylvania. Heck, we're getting them in New England now, where all of these academies, they're classifying themselves as postgraduate schools, postgraduate academies. They're there for one particular purpose, and that purpose is to give your student athlete an extra year of physical and mental maturation. And what they choose to do with that extra year is entirely up to them. So in other words, I want parents to understand these academies, they're probably all staffed by quality baseball people, or that's the hope.
Oh,
They're staffed by people within the, the strength training, area. But understand this, by simply going there and putting the uniform on, that's not going to turn your student athlete into a college baseball player.
no.
And so I want parents to understand that I like the postgraduate academies that are academic centric and they provide a wonderful athletic opportunity, because that's much more of a model that they're going to have in college. Because if you think you're only going to donate a few hours to your academics when you get to college, it's not really the case. You're there to get a degree from an accredited university. So understanding time management, that's the integral part. When it comes to reclassifying, don't do it for just athletics. Do it for the development, if you're going to do it, as a student athlete in its entirety. The next thing I want to ask,
and that was the academic piece too. I mean, listen, sometimes you just, like you said, you need another year of whatever it might be as far as it goes. And like I said, if you're a solid baseball player, and I'm taking this the wrong way, and you're 140 pounds, you might need another year.
Well, talk about that a little bit, because I want parents to also understand when we talk about men, we talk about that word physicality. The number one thing I want parents to understand is, if your son is 6'1" and 145 or 155 pounds and he's 15 or 16, guess what? That's normal.
No doubt.
Here's the thing. Mother Nature, or just year in and year out growth, by the time they're 21 or 22, the man shoulders, the man facial hair, the man physical, it begins to show itself naturally. But if you're going to play a college sport, you need to understand that the strength component is an integral part. And it's not something you can do 1 day a week, 2 days a week. It's part of your time management skills. And so, that's why junior college has become so prevalent, because it gives you the opportunity to go there and get 2 years older, 2 years stronger. And that you show up on a college campus or 4-year school after doing a JUCO year, or JUCO, 2 years of JUCO, you are, in fact, a man. You're 20 to 21 years of age. And how does that work at Gardner Webb? Do you take or have a lot of JUCO transfers or JUCO athletes that come to Gardner Webb?
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's public knowledge. You can look at our roster. I mean, I'm a firm believer we've got to be 50-50 transfer and high school players. I mean, I think it's really important that, and you'll see in our lineup, it's a lot of times it's going to be 5 and 4 or 4 and 5, like as far as high school guys are with us, and transfer guys as far as it goes. So, but then, it used to be transfer was just used to be the junior college transfer. That's all it used to be. And now, I mean, it's changed immensely. I mean, you've got the 4-year transfer, you've got the junior college transfer, you've got the grad transfer, which we do the grad transfer. I mean, we have a niche for it, and it's something we can do. Not a lot of places can get them, and we can. So I don't know. He's 23, and it's another one of those pieces, and it's a plug and play thing. When you have an immediate need here in June, it's very advantageous to do that.
Talk about the high wire you have to walk, because we talk portal, but we have June 3rd. Then we have after the draft. I mean, we have that time period after the draft.
Yeah.
And then we have the fall, so talk about this high wire act of making sure that your program is properly represented with all of these different dates that you have to deal with.
I mean, it's tough. I mean, listen, I'm getting on a plane tomorrow, and I'm headed to a region of the country, and I have somewhere to be on Tuesday. And then I have my staff, based off of what goes into that portal the next couple of days, telling me where I'm going Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
And that's because you're going where? You're going to college, summer, collegiate leagues, correct?
Mm-hmm.
All right. I want to talk on that. So parents need to understand. I have a question that came through here, and I want parents to understand this is no slight to travel baseball. But a question here is, should high school athletes continue to do showcases? I'm giving you my personal opinion, and then I'm going to have Jim kind of share his thought. My personal opinion is no, emphatic no, because the showcases are not going to be attended as they used to be by college coaches. Because all of those college coaches are now at college summer leagues because they're there to see the athletes that are in the portal, and they're there to get an idea of who they are physically and how they interact with their teammates. College camps, however, have now replaced the old showcase environment because now college coaches can talk freely. It's almost like they can present their university or campus to the younger athletes. They can kind of see how athletes interact with teammates and coaches. So the question, our high school showcase is still a great event. My opinion is no. My opinion is, and I would like Jim for you to explain, a lot of college recruiting now begins with scouting college summer baseball leagues. Is that correct?
Yeah, it does now. And I want to make sure I say too, like, I'm going to do this. Like, you know what I mean? I'm excited. I'm going to be running around for about 8 or 9 days. But with that, okay, we have 2 high school visits this week that are seniors in high school that are recently decommitted from Power Fives because those places, they're anticipating somebody not getting drafted / might have found somebody in the portal in the last month. You know what I mean? There's all kinds of stuff that goes on. So you're still recruiting some high school guys as far as it goes. So, yeah. So, you know, I still go by the old adage, you know what I mean? Like I was telling you about running around in the car and watching guys play and some different things from the high school players. Like, you know, there's still those people that know college coaches and they have relationships with coaches and different things. And, you know, I've just been blessed to do this long enough where, you know, if I need a third baseman, and if I need somebody like that, and I'm looking, and I've got 2 contacts in Miami, I just ask those guys, like, I need a third, and they tell me the 5 best guys to go to. You know what I mean? Instead of being at a showcase for 8 hours, that world's kind of died out. You know what I mean? I know they put some of that stuff with like events and different things. And listen, there's still some really good events you got to get to and do what you need to do.
Yep.
But if you kind of take the process of what I explained earlier about finding what is the right, like socially, this place you want to go to school, what is you do the research academically, and then you have a kind of an idea of the level that maybe you would know, take a shot at one of the big schools. But if they don't come knocking, then maybe you got to come down a little bit and keep coming, and it'll tell yourself. And that's why the college camps have become really, really popular. And look, for us, it's great because, like, you know, I use this, you know, now we're allowed another guy on the road, right? That's what this other, you know, now we're allowed 4 guys on the road. But, like,
Right.
If I've got 70 kids at camp, which is not a big camp, you know what I mean? Like, in some ways, and they all handed us their summer schedule, there's no way the 4 of us could cover that. You know what I mean? It's impossible. So we've got to streamline things the best that we can, you know what I mean, as far as it goes. So it's tough for me because, like, I can sit here and say a lot of different things, and, like, I give an idea like, hey, don't, you know, you got to go. You're like, hey, listen, there's certain events, and the question usually comes back is, oh, coach, well, what are the events? I just don't like answering that because, you know what I mean? There is a lot of good things. There's good things out there that maybe I don't even know about. You know what I mean? That are not specific to me, Gardner Webb, or recruiting ties. You know what I mean? Like, there's probably a great event in Wyoming. I just don't recruit there. You know what I mean? Like, it's not a niche for Gardner Webb.
Right. And the thing that I want parents to understand, because they just got a text, I'm just sharing my personal thoughts, and I'm not asking Coach Chester to validate. What I want to get parents to understand is here are 3 hard factual realities of today's world. 1, most college coaching staffs over the next 3 to say 5 weeks will be attending college summer collegiate
100%.
games. That's 1. 2, the reality is there are student athletes that have signed an LOI that have committed to colleges at all levels. I'm not picking on Division I. I'm not picking on Power 5. At all levels, where something happens, it could be a coaching staff change. It could be players didn't leave to go to the draft, didn't sign. Somebody got into the portal they didn't expect. There are high school athletes that will be asked not to show up or to not be, you know, they'll be told They won't be part of the team. They're welcome to go to school. That happens. Is it, it's not a regular occurrence, but it does happen. And here's the third thing. The number one thing to take into account is if we look at the Major League Draft moving from the first week in June to the All-Star break and the effect that has had on college recruiting. I need parents to understand this is not a personal vendetta or attack on the high school athlete. It's just the shift that has occurred. And so those time parameters now, college coaches use June 3rd through the Major League Draft. Who's coming in, who's staying, who looks good, who can we get on campus? They figure that out. Now, post Major League All-Star game, we have events such as PBR Futures, Area Code Underclass, Area Code East Coast Pro. Those types of events that generally get or attract the top high school athletes in the country. The college coaches then gravitate to those events, and then they have their camps, the summer camps, and in the fall, and in some cases, the winter. That's generally how the recruiting process at the collegiate level occurs. And so when parents are looking to spend their time and their money, recruiting services do not have a magic wand. They cannot pick up a phone and call Jim Chester and say, I need you to take this guy. Do me a solid, Jim, and take this guy. Those days are basically gone. The other thing, it is not a negative for your son to participate in NAIA baseball, in junior college baseball, NCAA Division III, or NCAA Division II. Don't think you're validating your son's existence by going to a Power 4 or 5 school or Division I school and sitting. When you think, well, maybe if I had looked at this school, here are some stats that I think parents need to understand. And College Baseball Insights, they put all this information out. The average high school student athlete will attend a college within 3 to 4 hours from their home. And that's largely due in part so parents can be a part of the process. The next thing to understand, 2% of high school baseball players in all 50 states in Canada will play Division I baseball. 2% of high school athletes will play Division I baseball. So if we know all of these statistics, we need to begin to educate parents to say, hey, look, this young man went from Division III, and you tell a great story about an Oakland A's closer today who was a Division III player. There are a lot of success stories by going to Division III. If I look at Endicott, if I look at Salve Regina, which is schools in my backyard, they have athletes that are playing at Boston College and UConn, which is winning the regional last time I looked. So we have that transition now where college coaches will say to a Division III coach, hey, your guy's in the portal. Can he help us? He's a left-hand pitcher. I'm looking at his numbers. That does happen, correct, Jim?
Oh, yeah, 100%. It happens a ton. I mean, you mentioned, I know UConn does a great job. I mean, they get a lot of different guys. And like I said, we were one of the first ones, we took a D3 grad transfer back in 21 before it became as common as it did. And I mean, really worked out for us. I mean, he's probably going to be an MLB All-Star this year, Mason Miller. So, I mean, there's a lot of that goes on, you know what I mean? Like I said, but, it's tough too. Like, I was a D2 and D3 coach, like I talked about before. And it's like, talking like guys can go there and then move to Division I or whatever it might be. That's tough. You know what I mean? Like because those coaches work really hard at what they do. You know what I mean? And they're trying to build rosters and build teams, and it's, it gets hard. You know what I mean?
Well, what I want parents to understand here as we wrap up, because Jim has its recruiting to do, and he's been kind enough to donate his time, and I don't want to bore people. I'm not here to and I think Jim would say something similar. Not here to lecture parents, not here to try to tell you, beware of the boogeyman here or this guy over here. Everything is in today's world, from an economic perspective, everything is out there to be sold, whether it's equipment or lessons or camps. Can they benefit a student athlete? Absolutely. But if we're looking for them to create a magic wand or create magic with regard to the ability and the level that your son or student athlete aspires to play at, it just doesn't happen. You know, I have a son, he got a 2-year degree from a junior college, LSU Eunice, and Jeff Willis and Alan Ordain do a tremendous job. They are national champions, Division II JUCO.
Oh, yeah.
And so he had a great experience in Eunice, Louisiana, and then went to LSU Alexandria, which is an NAIA school, and got a 4-year degree. So my point to you is, I want to provide access to coaches like Jim Chester. I want to have parents that understand you have to have a reality moment with your son. Do student athletes decommit? Yes. Do schools ask student athletes to decommit or go in a different direction? Yes. Are exit meetings handled in a business-like manner, as somebody asked me? Yes, they are. It is a two-way street for coaches and athletes. Sometimes coaches will say, are you planning on coming back? And they think they're going to get a yes, when in reality they get a no. So this is not just to paint a canvas with a broad brush. I want parents to understand is we're going to have these types of conversations with academic advisors, with financial aid offices, with admissions offices, with SAT and ACT counselors. We're going to really begin to broaden and bring professional scouts. I have 3 professional scouts that are going to join us and talk about how they evaluate players. Mm-hmm. This is what I want parents to understand. This topic constantly changing, mm-hmm. constantly evolving, and coaches have to, Jim, maybe end on this note. You're always getting these changes. You have to adapt or die. You have to adapt or fold. I mean, you have to look at the changes. You can voice your opinion, but at the end of the day, Jim Chester is not writing these rules and regulations. This is
you got to adapt. And I've said it all the time. I tell our coaches, if you want to complain about this, complain about that, you can go ahead and do it. But but then you got to go, and you got to you can sit here and complain about it, or you can go and, you know what I mean, change with the times and work and grow and do whatever you got to do. It is what it is. Just it is what it is. And the ones that have complained, listen, I watched this evolution when travel ball started. Everyone started complaining about it. Well, those guys ended up getting out, you know what I mean? And then showcases start, you know what I mean? And guys are like, I'm not doing that. I'm not, you know what I mean? Then get out of that. Social media, I'm not messing with that. Well, if you don't embrace all those things and keep moving along, there's no, you know what I mean?
Right. I mean, the reality is we have to learn what the rules are, what the changes are, and then we have to swim in that pool. And I know that you know about the ABCA meetings in Omaha, and that's where coaches get to discuss the rule changes. What I want parents to understand is, and I'm just going to end this with some rapid fire answers. Mm-hmm. Decommitting, it happens. Athletes decommit all the time. It's your life as a student athlete. You have the ability to control your life. Just understand there is no easy path, regardless of whether you think it gets easier by going down a level. The path is going to be filled with challenges, hurdles, moments of testing your resolve and your desire to truly be a college student athlete. Decommitting and coaches asking you to decommit are part of the process. There's always going to be athletes that may, what I call being ranked or thought of, evaluated, that might be higher coming out of high school, and then the lower evaluated high school, or ranked, I guess we're going to call it, surpasses. Is it a matter of skill, or is it a matter of resolve and resiliency? And so I think that's a big part of this. The other thing that I want parents to understand is this. Always do not fear, do not allow yourself to be put into a kind of this channel of fear, because when there's uncertainty, parents begin to, am I missing out? Is my student athlete missing out? Is there a place where my student athlete needs to be? The answer to that question is you need to have a plan. And always remember, it is better to choose than chase. And I will always tell parents, if you take a deep breath and you step back and you recognize, what are my student athlete's skill sets? What are his strengths? What are his weaknesses, academically, athletically, socially, etc.? And you begin to look at the college experience in a collective whole. Your 4, 5, or 6 years of school will be a lot better. And so I really want to, and I think, for every parent that feels, when we look on social media, I am happy and blessed to announce that I am going to an NCAA Division I. Okay, I get that, but parents need to understand Division I tag title doesn't mean you're going to be thought of any better than a NCAA Division II player from University of Tampa or Barry University or St. Leo's or IUP with Steve Klein in Pennsylvania, who's going to the Division II World Series. Understand your division or your level of play does not determine your skill as a player. What determines your skill as a player is your ability to look into the mirror and say, did I get better today? Am I better today than I was yesterday? What do I need to do to get better? And what are my weaknesses? And if I look at that and I do that every day, my skill will definitely get better. Jimmy, I want to say thank you I really appreciate it. I asked you to be here for an hour and we're going on a little bit longer. Parents, I want to say thank you. Expect these types of podcasts. I can't possibly ask Coach Chester to join us every week, but expect these type of podcasts probably more frequently than they happened in the past. My hope is to make sure, to me, for Twitter, $2.99 or YouTube, $4.99, to have access to coaches like Coach Chester, Coach Serrano, Coach Corbin, pick a coach, Coach Willis at LSU Eunice, I think provides parents peace of mind and student athletes a clearer understanding of the pathway to enjoying their college experience. So if you have any questions after today, please put them in the comments. I'm begging you, subscribe to the YouTube channel. That is free. Just hit the subscribe button. It's free. And just hit the notifications bell and interact with us. If you have a question for Coach Chester, put it below. I'm going to put his Twitter and social media and email address on here so that you can contact him directly. Yes, Gardner Webb has camps. Yes, Gardner Webb has walk-ons. And yes, Coach Chester will answer your emails provided you are of age and he has the ability to respond to you, i.e. junior after August 1st, rising junior, etc. Those time parameters still withstanding. Thank you to everyone. I am deeply appreciative of your Sunday evening. If you feel this was of value and you feel that more of this should be, we should do more of the content like this, please retweet, please make mention on Twitter and on Instagram and on YouTube. I am going to do this full time. I am taking this to the next level, much to the delight of my wife, who is basically asking me if we're going to be okay. I feel we will be okay. Jimmy, I want to say thank you. Best of luck going forward with regard to recruiting. And for all parents, do yourself a favor. Go online, look up Gardner Webb baseball. I promise you, you will be a better human if you have the ability to be coached by Coach Chester. And oh, by the way, you'll also become a better baseball player. Jimmy, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Awesome time tonight. Thank you again. Thank you.
I appreciate it. Thanks, Captain.